Hello and welcome to a monumental Signal Radio. I'm here today with my co-host Louise. Louise, how are you?
I'm really well, thank you. Really pleased to be back in the hot seat again, Stu. Yeah, it's been a good
back
week.
by popular demand.
Oh, that's what they say.
Just a few bits of business, really, just to cover those off before we get started. This is to be the final, can you believe it, the final Signal Radio.
Will be sadly missed, but
we are coming back in September as a podcast.
We are.
So more of the same sort of banter, but go to wherever it is you get your podcasts and have a listen. We'll be talking about all things Signal, local community and business.
It's a great, I think it's going to be a really great way to get people to hear what's going on in the local community, how they can get involved in the local community in ways of leisure, but also in business. It's a really good bridge, really, just to see what's going on and see what we can do. So yeah, looking forward to it. But Signal Radio has proved to be very popular. So thank you for all our listeners.
Yes, absolutely. So if you've joined in, listened, commented, shared, liked, or been a guest, thank you so much. We've had some real highlights, some really funny moments. It's been a real pleasure to do this. I've really enjoyed it, and looking forward to doing the podcast, whatever that may bring. But it makes us a little more flexible with timing. Some of the people just couldn't make the live shows, which we kind of moved towards the pre-recorded ones. But I think that will give us more scope for who we can actually record, because we can do it at their convenience.
And thank you to Gareth as well, who's been an integral part of the team. So thank you to Gareth.
My sparring partner. I think it's a score draw. No quarter given.
Yeah, I love a competition.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any form of competition, bring it on.
So what have you been up to this week?
So, do you know what was really exciting this week? I ventured out of the house to watch live cricket. As most people know who know me, I'm really passionate about cricket and all things sport. And we went up to Rowledge. They had their first team playing on Saturday, and it just felt really normal to be back watching live cricket. So yeah, that was really, really good. So a lot of the local cricket teams are going to get back up now. I believe Headley is going to be getting their team back up at the Bosque in Bordon. So yeah, it was great actually, Stu. Felt like a normal human again, doing normal human activities. So yeah, it was good. It was good fun.
I guess cricket's one of those games that you can socially distance.
You can indeed.
Big outfield.
You do. To be fair, everybody was sitting in the along the boundary, all in their little clusters watching. So yeah, it was really good. So I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Yes, a game of cricket, even if you're not a huge fan, can be a lovely day out. Just a picnic and wander when it's a bit slow.
And it signifies summer to me. When cricket starts, summer has begun. So yeah, it was really good.
Excellent.
What about you, Stu?
I hear they're thinking about bringing it back at Bosque as well. Soon.
Yeah, that's what I just said. Yeah, at Headley.
That one. Yeah, right.
Cricket club. I think they run their third team at Bosque. When we had Martina on a couple of weeks ago, she said they've been keeping the wicket really good. So hopefully they'll be up and running as well. So anybody who's a cricket fan, head down, look at the schedule, see who's playing.
Fabulous. Excellent.
What about you, Stu?
What about me for the last week?
Yeah.
I've been trying to get the roof fixed on my office. Really dull, really boring. But we had a downpour, and suddenly I realised that there was dripping on my CCTV equipment.
Okay.
And I was like, water and CCTV equipment does not go well together. So I was up on the roof hammering.
I was going to say, you're going to attempt to do it yourself. I tell you what, I can give you a good piece of advice. Why don't you get in touch with the lovely Gary Newell of Jigsaw consultancy and just get him to come and send some guys to do it.
Do you know, I'm thinking that we'll just splurge and get the pros in to do it. And
well, there's so many trades in Bordon. To be fair, it's amazing because the Bordon Builders Network that Gary's involved in building, it's a huge community of trade. So might be worth just putting a little post on there and see what you get.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Okay. All right. Tip accepted. That's what I'm going to do, and then I will have a drip-free office environment.
Always advisable with electrical equipment involved.
I'm just worried they'll point at my patch and look at it disparagingly, and I'll be less of a man because of it.
Oh, no judgment here. No judgment here. We all have our what do you call it, expertise in different levels. So that's what collaboration is all about, which is the theme of the month at SiGNAL, isn't it? Collaboration. It's all about collaborating, and it's all about finding what you need, what your weaknesses are, where you can find strengths in others, and bringing it together. So I would never think of it as you can't do a job. That's not your speciality. Find somebody who does. So.
Well, I'm sure I can have a structured, useful conversation with Gary about. he'll talk to me in building terms, and I'll nod sagely and just point and say leak.
He'll have his pencil behind his ear, and he'll be telling you.
Yeah, he'll be talking about soffits and watershed or whatever. I'll be yeah, Gary, yeah. So just who have we got as this week's guest? It's a big one because we're finishing on a high. Please introduce our guest.
Well, today it's the grand finale. So we've got a really, really exciting guest for you all today. He is the project lead for the Whitehill and Bordon Regeneration Company, the joint venture between the Dorchester Regeneration and Taylor Wimpey that acts on behalf of the DIO. We're really pleased to introduce James Child. Come on in, James. There he is.
Hi there.
Hello.
Welcome, James.
And James, where are you today?
Well, funny enough, I'm at Cafe Hogmore, which opened up this last weekend. And, it was great to see it busy and lots of people supporting it. It was a great start for the cafe. Excellent.
Yes, I popped down, posted a picture. It looked fantastic. There was quite a buzz there, so it was a pleasure to see it.
A run on ice creams, which was great.
What days and times is it open, James?
So at the moment it's 5 days a week, so it's closed Mondays, Tuesdays, but open the rest of the week. We're obviously thinking about extending those hours through August, try and make the most of Dishy Rishy's offers, and try and open it 7 days a week. We've just got to get the staffing organised for that. But it's open. I don't know the actual hours, but I will obviously post those through for you to say.
Brilliant, yeah. And is it just sort of teas and coffees and cakes, or at the moment?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And we're going to start savoury snacks from next weekend. So
brilliant.
Broader offer from next weekend, as well as the ice creams, of course.
Obviously.
Big fan of the ice creams. So, James, for anybody watching who doesn't know who you are, has not heard of you before, who are you and what is your role in the Regen? If you could just lay that foundation.
James Child. So I'm the project lead for the regeneration of the former Prince Philip Barracks, which is the eastern side of the town where the army used to be. As you know, the army left in March 2016, and we're sort of leading the project to redevelop those for housing and jobs and town centre and a lot of new community facilities like this one.
Fantastic, excellent. That must be a really challenging role. So how did you end up getting offered that kind of role? Because it encompasses so much and there's such a broad scope. How did you end up, getting the phone call? James, come and sort Bordon out.
So we were working with Taylor Wimpey at the time and looking at bidding projects like this one. And I started looking at Bordon in 2013. It was on the radar then. I think in 2012 they'd announced that the army would leave, and it was on our radar to bid it. And we went into a competition in 2014 and worked through a year of bidding to the MOD in competition, and then won the contract in the end of 2014, and that's how I've ended up running the project. Previously, I'd worked on regeneration schemes in the East End of London and some schemes out in Wiltshire. So similar sorts of things, small scale, large scale. The Wiltshire one was a small village, whereas the London one was a big regeneration. And that's where I sort of learned what was important to people and how to work with the community to deliver projects like this.
So as far as you started on like a smaller scale type regeneration, and now scaled up to a much bigger, broader scale.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Brilliant.
So I learned by a few mistakes, as you do in life. But we'll never get it right all the time. But we have to learn from what we do and build on what we're doing. And it's great that we've got so much time on a project like this to keep working at it, keep trying to make it better, keep trying to change things, keep trying to improve things. We've got up to 20 years to do this, and that's actually quite unusual in the development world. So you can actually, try new things, try and improve things. You can change things if you get it wrong, and that's great for us.
I mean, going back to saying getting things wrong, it's what we do teach in business, and it's across the world, isn't it? In business, you make mistakes and you learn from them and you fix them and you improve them. And I think with that kind of attitude, there's always going to be success.
Yeah, and I think the main difference in Bordon, what I like about Bordon and the people in Whitehill and Bordon are they're very vocal. So they tell you when you're making mistakes. They tell you to do things differently. And we've done quite a lot that's changed. Cafe Hogmore, where I am today in the education room, didn't exist on the original plans in 2015. They were not existing. And it was only by talking to people that we realized that had been missed off the plans. And that's why we delivered it. And the same goes for the skate park. The skate park's a much better project than it would have been if it had just been taken off the shelf and developed. We had to work with the local BMX groups and the skateboarders and the local youth groups to actually give them something that would be popular. And that is proving to be, again, a good investment in time and people to get it right. And we hope to have a lot more projects like this. The next thing on the list after Cafe Hogmore is the Makers Market. That's another community project that's going to be delivered and opened Easter next year. But we need that to be about local produce and local producers and local businesses, and it's got to reflect what people want to shop and the new ways. We all learned from COVID-19. We love the open markets now, and shopping and fresh food and all the rest of it. We've got a great opportunity to do something special. That's next.
Can you just talk us through your vision for the Makers Market? Because it's a really exciting project, and I don't think many people will know what the actual vision is.
So the market itself, it's an indoor and an outdoor market. So the indoor market will comprise 16 stalls, and it will also have space for street food and kind of all that kind of market entertainment and events. And we've been talking to Rob Allison at Phoenix about helping out with the events too. Okay. And then we'll have a large space outside in and around the park, and also on the town square for some 30 or 40 stalls, which allows us to do a proper market that moves through on a regular basis. And we can change what we offer on a weekly basis on that. And that allows, you're then talking about 70 or 80 different businesses working in the Makers Market and offering different things. We want everything from a florist through to the traditional fruit and veg, through to jewelry makers, arts and crafts. We're talking about a microbrewery in there, as you know. So it's going to be quite different, and that's actually going to be quite attractive to people in the region, because you have to travel quite a long way at the moment to get something like that, and it will be on your doorstep.
Brilliant.
I actually grew up in a market. My mum had a job on a fruit and veg stall, and I used to go there and help tidy up and run around, and I just loved the energy, people shouting. I always thought to myself, wouldn't it be great to have a job where you could just shout at the public? This is my version of that. I noticed on Facebook that the Whitehill and Bordon Regen company put out a graphic showing a timeline, and I was amazed at actually how many projects are just clustered together to coming up, in 2021, 22. And the Makers Market is scheduled to open in Easter 2021. And the town park is also scheduled to open in 2021. Could you perhaps sort of describe what the town park is? Because it's something I've not really heard of.
So yeah, we've got the town squares and town park. In the current environment, outdoor space is so much more valuable, and we want to. We already have the benefit of Hogmore enclosure now, and the town, right at the heart of the town centre, we want to have spaces for people to enjoy. We've also looking at public art, and as we've just talked about, kiosks for people to be able to come by and then spend time outdoors and enjoy the outdoors as well as the facilities indoors. And the park's really important. As you know, the leisure centre is also opening in November this year. So the leisure centre you walk straight out of the leisure centre onto the town park. You also walk straight out of the Makers Market onto the town park. So the town park's right at the heart of the town. And the cinema and the other buildings will come onto that town park as well in due course. So it's going to be a real feature in the town. And a great space. And we'll also have there the kind of war memorials, and we'll host the other events that happen throughout the year in the town park. It's a park for everybody.
What do you envisage the park will look like? What's going to be in the park then? What does it look like?
It's an urban park. So there'll be play areas. We've been talking to the famous petonkers of Bordon about some more petanque courts there, to play, French pools effectively, and quite a big play area. But we're also about to commission an artist to do a public art project, and there'll be at least one installation in the town park around celebrating art and celebrating the town, and we want people to be involved in that. So that's another great project for people.
Brilliant.
Wow, it sounds, I can't wait. I mean, I've been over and I've seen the leisure centre, which is kind of hidden. You can't really see it from like many of the main roads.
That's the main problem at the moment, is that everything's happening behind shutters and hoarding. And we've been working all the way through COVID-19, we've not stopped. And the only reason we can open the leisure centre more or less on time is only because all of the building work is carried on even through COVID-19, which is great for the town.
Is that often the problem though, when you've got it behind hoarding, that people can't see progress? And I know you said the voices of Bordon are quite loud, quite rightly. Yeah. Do you think that's because people can't really see tangibly what's happening? Yeah,
and also it's been a long time coming, hasn't it? It's been people have been very patient. We're probably a year behind the original program, just because of the problems that we were all suffering Brexit this time last year.
Brexit, what's that? Nobody even remembers that now. It's coming though.
Online, the economy is hit by online retail. I think online retail has accelerated the change onto online. Probably 3 years has now happened in 3 months. And we've got to think about what our towns and spaces are going to be like in this new world. And actually, again, as we said before, we've got the opportunity to shape it over time. And actually, sometimes delay makes it better.
Yeah.
We hopefully will end up with something better than we thought of 2 years ago as a result of all of this, because it will be more resilient as a result. If we can make it work, it's going to stay the test of time.
Yeah, I mean, we've certainly found that within our business community of the community that we have involvement in, is that they've adapted to the change. They've pretty much, they've had to look at what they're doing, and a lot of people have really adapted their business. So yeah. It's quite normal, I suppose, now that we're all thinking slightly differently, where our plans are slightly different. So yeah, as you say,
the businesses on the trading estate as well, they've been through a huge amount in the last 3 months, and some of them have changed their businesses tremendously, and trade is booming. I was talking to somebody today who's doing more than 15% volume than he was a year ago, because he changed what he did.
Yeah.
And we've seen more people working in the NHS. We've seen and supplying into the NHS and trying to adapt what they do. So I think you know, if you're willing to change and change quickly, then you can actually make an opportunity out of it. And a lot of people in Bordon are doing just that.
Yeah.
I'm guessing many of the projects that you described that you sort of cut your teeth on are completely different to what is happening in Bordon, you know, just the scale of the change alone. But what is exciting about this particular project? What's the thing that you're really keen to see happen?
I just like, I do like the fact that it's a very vocal town, and I like to know that people are reacting to it, and I can get the feedback, and I can understand what people, and I can make it fun for people and create things that they want. And that's quite a unique position to be in. I take a lot of comfort, but also joy out of trying to do it right. And when I get it wrong, I know I'm gonna be told. So actually, it's a good place to be. I enjoy that. On other projects, you just plow on. You're never quite sure where you are. You deliver it, and it's sort of you get 7 out of 10 or 5 out of 10. And in Bordon, they won't let you get 5 out of 10. So, you know, it's kind of, I need to do better always. And keeps me on my toes, keeps me going, and keeps me motivated. I really enjoy it.
It's a really strong community in Bordon, isn't it? Yeah. It's a very big community spirited place to be. It really is. We've found that as well, haven't we, Stu?
It's a great place to live. And, you know, the rate of the houses are selling really well. And that's not for any other reason than people want to live here, you know, and that's good.
Are you sorry, Stu, are you on, talking about the houses, are you on schedule with the houses? How, you know, where are you at with the house builds?
We've had a really good, not just recent events, but even all through lockdown, you know, house sales were going well.
Good.
And across, recently we've been selling more than 2 a week actually, which is great, you know, up at the much faster than many other places in the country. And people coming into Bordon are coming from all over. They're not just within the kind of 5 or 10 mile radius. They're also coming from out of southern London or Guildford or up from Portsmouth. And maybe that's also to do with COVID now, that people
I was going to say that the trend may be that people don't want to live in the cities anymore. They want to come out. They want to come out of the cities. And then also, obviously, with the stamp duty that they've just there might be a rush on.
there was a rush last week. Has to be said.
I can imagine. Everybody wants to get it done.
Exactly. And the other thing is people are going to work from home more.
Yeah.
If you can deal with homeschooling, then that's fine, you know. So
yeah.
That was one of the things that attracted us when we were looking, because we moved from Guildford to Bordon, was, I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but the internet speed. Quite a lot of the times, places in the countryside don't have a particularly good internet speed, but because the army was here and the exchange was here, everything was really quick. And being that I run an online business, that was a really important thing. And I really like the idea that the town is growing up, both in terms of environmentally, you know, there's a lot being kept that is part of the overall environment, but also technically it's got like fast broadband, and there's some new technologies being used on the new builds, and I love all that. I think that's the way forward to have a sustainable future, is to create housing that takes advantage of that technologies.
Yeah, and there's a lot more that can be done, and we've been starting to talk to the doctors at Badger's Wood about how to improve how online services can be delivered into the home. We're starting to look at sensors within the home for people with conditions, you know, and triggers. There's a lot more we can do. We've had a questionnaire recently on a transportation service, basically a taxi for the price of a bus, so that we can have an on-demand service using an app and all the rest of it. And there's a lot more we can do, and we need to do more on the digital world to help support our lives day to day. So it's actually quite an exciting time to be in the kind of IT world that's changing so rapidly at the moment.
You should have a conversation with Scott at HSG, Scott Duffield, because he's all over the sort of home tech, and you know, he's been talking to me about various monitors and how to, you know, equip a home so that somebody can stay in it for longer. It is an exciting area, definitely.
You literally took the words out of my mouth, Stu. I was literally going to, what about that? I was just going to say you need to speak. We'll connect you with Scott. Yeah, he's really, you know, a local chap. And yeah, there's maybe something that you can do there with him.
In fact, we spoke to him on Friday, and he said he's having to recruit new people. I think he's taken on 4 people.
4 people. It's since lockdown, he's taken on 4 people. That's how his business has grown. So it's a really exciting time for small business, I think, you know, across the country, but particularly in Bordon, because there is so much opportunity and so much happening there. So we've certainly found that in our community.
Yes, and like you say, you know, the business community, like the community at large, they're quite vocal in telling you what they want, what they don't want, and letting you know when you get it right, and, you know, hopefully giving you the time to put it right when you get it wrong.
On that note, James, what is the easiest way for people in the community to find out what's happening in Whitehill and Bordon region?
You know, we can never reach enough people. We've obviously got a very active Facebook group. We're very happy to work through SiGNAL to promote things. The town council too, we've been talking to them about sharing information and making it much more readily accessible. And then you've got the wider district as well, who have their own network that we try and get information out to. And from time to time we'll do information into the Bordon Herald as well. So, but it's best to link into our Facebook or onto our website or SiGNAL's website to get regular updates.
Oh yeah, so check the links below this publication, and we'll link to the Facebook group so that if people don't know where it is, they can go and keep abreast of it, because I find it's actually really useful. That and the newsletter let me know all of the community projects, as well as, you know, the deadlines and stuff. So if you're wondering what's going on, the information is out there, you just haven't connected to it. So we'll make sure you can below this video. Just on a completely separate tack,
James, is this where you go now for something completely different?
Yeah, now for something completely different. No, on a completely separate tack, James, we've heard a lot about Bordon. We found out a little about you. I want to ask you an off-the-wall question. So if you could do anything else, any other profession, magic fairy comes down, waves a wand, what would it be?
Well, I'm thinking about it. I've enjoyed trying new things during COVID-19. And I thought, well, I better learn to cook properly. And my kitchen has become increasingly difficult to clean. But as a result, I've actually got quite a lot more creative. And I was thinking, well, I would love to be a chef, actually. That would be a fantastic job, you know, to be able to just concoct things at will without referring to a recipe book. That would be pretty cool, I think.
Highly pressured.
Yeah.
Incredible. Really enjoy it.
Exactly.
If it works.
Oh, and don't forget, we still have to play tennis, because I know you play tennis, so we still need that match. The tennis courts are now open, aren't they, boss? Yeah. No excuses.
We must have a team game at cricket as well.
I think so, yeah. Ooh, I quite like watching cricket. Not sure, the ball's really hard. But yes, we can certainly have a team game of cricket. It'll be fun.
Fantastic. Well, that brings us to the end of today. Can you believe it? Half an hour zips past. It always does. Thank you so much for joining us today, James, and keeping us updated as to what's going on now and in the future. And we'll be sure to share with the business community and the community at large whatever information we get, whenever we can release it. But thank you for taking time out of what I know is an incredibly hectic schedule and spending half an hour with us to keep us updated. So thank you very much, and we'll speak to you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, James. Bye.
Thank you for listening.